What is good with y'all? It's Abwon, and this is Before You Watch, spoiler-free reviews. And this week, I got a trizzy treat. Get Out, the new movie from Jordan Peele, the short dude that's with the duo, that's in the duo, Key and Peele. You know what's crazy? One of my very first reviews was for that movie Keanu about the cat. And I reviewed it, and that movie to me was horrible. And when I first saw the trailer for this movie on Facebook, I was like, is this a real movie? Because you know how sometimes they got like those fan-made like trailers or whatever, those spoofs and shit. I'm like, this is probably like an SNL skit. But then I found out it was a real movie. But then like more and more trailers kept coming out, and every time I saw a trailer, I became more and more intrigued. I said, yo, bruh, I gotta watch this movie because I've dated some Caucasian women back in my day. I date all women, just so y'all know. But anyway, I can relate to this movie. Like, I've had white people come up to me like, "Oh my God, can I touch your hair?" You know, I got dreads. I've had people ask me that, or they come up to me and be like, "Oh, like, so what are the hip jams all of the kids are dancing to today? Like, teach me how to Dougie," or some shit like that. So I said, "Yo, I need to check this movie out, man." Y'all already know I got the Afterthoughts segment coming for y'all with a special guest, so my actual review is going to be pretty short and concise. First things first, I am really impressed with Jordan Peele, the short guy from Key and Peele that made this movie. I don't know if this is his first film, but if it is, he did a fantastic job. If Key comes out and does his own film, he's got a lot to live up to. This movie's got a rating of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's 100%. Like, it's beaten all of the other Oscar nominated films. I don't even know what other films are even 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but this film is really that good. So, first, I already did first. Second thing, second. If you've ever dated outside of your race, and this has nothing to do whether you're black or white, if you've ever dated outside of your race and you've ever felt like a guinea pig, you're going to be able to relate to this movie. If anybody's asked you, "Hey, can you speak Puerto Rican for me? Can you speak Mexican for me? Do you know karate?" Like all that nonsense. If you've ever been put in a situation like that with somebody that you date, you're gonna completely relate to this movie. There are no racial slurs in this movie. This movie does have racial undertones and things like that, but it doesn't dominate the movie like Hateful Eight or like American History X, where you're just gonna be sitting there. You're gonna have to turn the TV off like, "Oh my God, this movie's mad racist." This movie's not like that. At the core, the movie is a horror comedy, like a horror or a comedy. That's what this movie is. It just so happens to be about a black dude that's dating a white woman. That's just what it is. And I feel like that element is really just what makes the movie stand out. Because if it would have just been like two white people dating, it would have just been like another like Cape Fear or, you know what I'm saying, like Cabin Fever or whatever. Like, but the fact that it has like those racial undertones, now everybody's drawn to the movie. Oh, let's watch it. Let's watch it. There were a lot of interracial couples in that theater with me. You know what I mean? Like a lot of interracial couples, and there was an overabundance of like preteens in that theater as well too. And this movie's rated R, so I'm pretty sure they snuck in. But I will say this: the acting is top notch from the minor actors to the major actors. It's top notch. Everybody. The black actors, the white actors, the white actresses, the black actresses. It's top notch. The horror scenes, I thought the horror scenes were hilarious, but you already know, I just don't think movies are scary anymore. They're creepy. They're creepier than they're more creepy than anything. They're just not scary. But everybody else in the theater was just like, "Oh my God, like what was that? Oh, something jumped out." I was sitting there laughing. I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was hysterical. So I would definitely watch this movie again, but I will tell you this: watch it with the group of people. Like you need to watch this movie with the group of people. There are some intense scenes. The movie's gonna give you anxiety. You're gonna be really antsy, wondering what's gonna happen next. It's kind of gory, but not that gory. Like it's not gory like Saw, where you're gonna see somebody's like intestines spill out, or their like eyeball pop out their socket. But it's gory to the point where you're gonna see like somebody's like blood come out. You know what I mean? So I think you see like somebody's like cranium get like cut, or their skull gets split or something like that. But it's not that graphic. I still wouldn't bring anybody under the age of 18 though. Like, chill. They may be like, eh. But I will tell you this: if you're one of those people that feels like racism does not exist in the world, period, and that it's just all made up, you're just really not going to appreciate this movie. Even if you're not in tune with what's going on in society right now, you're going to be sitting in that theater like, I don't get it. Like, what is going on? Because there are a lot of subliminals in this movie, like a lot of subliminals. The bingo scene is a big one. Is a big one. The UFC scene, they're at dinner and the guy's asking him about UFC and MMA. That's another subliminal to look out for. So, all in all, though, this movie was fantastic. I will definitely watch it again. I'm really impressed with Jordan Peele. Kudos to him. That's a big turnaround from Keanu, which I thought was absolute utter trash. So I give this movie a 7.9. It's the best movie of 2017 so far. And I can't wait to see whatever comes out next. I think the next review I'm gonna do is like Logan. So it is what it is. So I would definitely check this movie out. And I would see it with a big group of people because you need that commentary to make the experience livelier. Anyway, check out my Valentine's Day episode of Face to Face. My full court press series. Check out the other reviews. I got the Afterthoughts segment coming with y'all right
Good
now.
morning.
Good morning.
What's going on, everybody? It's Abwon. This is before you watch the Afterthought segment, like I promised you all. And for my Get Out review, I have a special guest. Her name is Nina, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, hello. Just a movie fan, longtime follower of Abwon. So, seen the movie this weekend. Great. Like to get into it a little bit more.
Word, word. Now, the reason why I chose you, Nina, I mean, you already know why I chose you, but for everybody else, this movie touches on a lot of topics, mostly with interracial dating and how, both parties are perceived, I guess you could say. And instead of me just going with a regular guest of color or whatever, I decided to get a different perspective. So, um, what exactly is your ethnicity for everybody that's listening slash viewing?
I'm Native American, Ojibwe from White Earth Band, Minnesota. So, a little bit different, but I'm obviously very fair skinned. So, for your average person coming across me, they would assume that I am Caucasian.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so that's why I decided to choose her, just so we had a different perspective. So first, we're going to talk about the movie. First question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Wow, I would give it a good strong 9.
Woo-hoo! Okay, okay. So what didn't you like about the movie?
Um, there were just little things in the beginning where I felt like he should have caught on quicker, but that's just me.
Gotcha. True, true. So what was the best thing about the movie? Like the absolute best thing.
To me, the best part of the movie was the fact that it wasn't what you expected from a black man in a horror film. Um,
There you go.
it was
Keep going, keep going, keep
it
going,
was
keep
what
going.
you it was what we all yell at the TV for every time we watch one. He actually followed through and did what you wanted him to do instead of being the victim or that simple fall down and oh my god, don't kill me. He owned it.
Yeah.
So I think that was
Yeah, I
my
thought the
my best
movie
part of the movie.
Yeah, was there a lot of crowd interaction when you watched it? Because like the crowd was going nuts like the
Oh my
whole
God.
time, like the whole movie.
The entire movie, as well as leaving the movie theater into the parking lot afterwards, which there were definitely some mixed comments in there, but a lot of applause, a lot of people like really, really into what was going on. I haven't been to a movie like that in a long time.
Yeah, I think the last movie I went to that was like that intense was probably that movie Don't Breathe, where like the kids go to rob like the blind dude. That I think that
Yeah.
was it. But this movie definitely took the cake as far as crowd interaction. Though. Like it was nuts. It was nuts.
And it was on both sides. It was the, ooh, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened, to like the cheering for him at the end, like huge,
Uh
huge,
huh. Uh huh.
is huge swing of emotions, I think, for everybody in the audience.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting it. Now, if I would have like saw the movie in an empty theater, like my thought of the movie would have still been the same, but I feel like my experience would have been a lot different just because like that environment and that energy definitely added to it.
Yes, and then when I went, the theater was packed out, packed, not an open seat in the house.
Yeah, it's been selling out everywhere, which is crazy. Like when I first saw this movie, I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't think it was going to be as big as it is now. Like it's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, well, when you
Now, do
first hit
you?
me to the previews, I was like, okay, that's something I want to see. It was 10 times better even than the previews, and I think that that's complete opposite of most horror films, where you get the best 2 minutes of the movie in the preview and then you're kind of left feeling empty when you actually watch the movie. Whereas
Yep,
this
yep.
barely touched on it, and then you were like, okay, that was so much more than what I expected.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're definitely right. I was really impressed with Jordan Peele too, because I'm not a fan of Key and Peele, but I'm a fan of Peele after watching this.
Yes, and it was definitely a big swing from what you would expect from him in the Key and Peele world. There
Yep,
wasn't
yep,
there was a little bit of humor to it. That actually I thought was like the icing on the movie, with his friend and how he helped him. But
yeah,
for the most part, it wasn't corny or cheesy in any way at all. And when I think of him, I
it's
always
funny
think
you
of the
bring it up.
Obama impersonations and kind of expect some of that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's funny. It's funny you bring up. Well, it's funny you bring up the fact that it was funny, but so most people are calling this a horror movie. Some people are saying it's a horror movie with like comedic elements to it. I thought it was hilarious, but the parts that I was laughing at, people looking at me like, "What the hell? Like this guy's crazy." But every day, like I was just dying hysterically. So, what would you put it in? Like, if you had to browse through a menu to find this movie, what genre would you put it in?
I would either do drama or suspense. Like, because it definitely has
Yeah.
you on the end of your seat, waiting for what's going to happen next or who's going to pop out of where. But what I was trying to explain it to someone else this weekend, because they were like, I don't see horror films. And I'm like, it's not a horror film per se. It's not like
Mhm.
there's something under my bed or something lurking in the hot,
Yeah.
it's, and it's not like the traditional serial killer films. And it actually, to me, I didn't think it was as racist as what I thought it was going to be. It was definitely a twist on, but and walking out of the theater, you definitely could kind of understand that everybody took that in a different way, because it's a group of women walking behind us, and one of the comments were made is, that's what he gets for dating white girls. And I'm like,
Wow. Oh, yeah,
okay.
I've heard that too. One of the things that drew me to this movie when I first saw it is, I've dated women of all races and ethnicities. So basically, I've dated Caucasian women before, and I've had plenty of situations. I don't want to say like that movie because obviously it's a movie, like, but I've definitely had situations where you're the only black guy at like an all white affair, pretty much, and people have said things, done things, things like that. I would never come out and say, "Oh, after watching this movie, I'm never dating a white girl again." But I feel like this movie definitely takes a taboo topic, which is interracial dating in America, and basically exposes light on the negative aspects of it. And in my review, I said even if you don't have to be a white woman dating a black guy to relate to dealing with bigotry from an interracial relationship. You could be, an Asian man dating like a Hispanic woman.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And people will say things and do things. So in your experience, you said you're in Minnesota.
Mhm.
So in your experience, just share some of your experiences with us. You don't have to get too like racially graphic, but just give us
Um,
give us some insight.
Coming from Minnesota, we are a very open, accepting culture for the most part. The culture in Minnesota is the Minnesota nice, Minnesota friendly. So here, growing up, I come from a Native family, so we already were living in inner city and exposed to all different types of people, whether it's black, brown, red, yellow, green for that matter, and different economical backgrounds. So here
Gotcha.
it wasn't a big deal. It was date whoever you want to and whatever makes you happy, and you don't get a lot of flack. Now, maybe when you go like into northern Minnesota, that'll change a little bit, but it's kind of like stepping back in time. My
Mm.
experiences in traveling in an interracial relationship are definitely very different, and
Mm.
very different depending on where you're going. I've had the luxury to be able to travel to a lot of different places, and they all have had a very different reaction to my situation. Now, in my situation, I do have two children that are also mixed. People look at
Okay.
me, look at my kids, assume they're native. They're
Mm.
lighter skinned, even though their dad is full black. He's not. He's not mixed. He's not light skinned. They just tend to take more after me. But
Okay.
like for instance, got pulled over in Louisiana. We weren't speeding. We were told we were speeding. They proceeded to call him boy half a dozen times. And the thing that
Mm.
really stood out to me was how many times they asked me if I was okay. Are you okay, ma'am?
Mm.
Um, pretty sure I wouldn't have traveled 12 hours from home with a baby if I wasn't okay. you know, Things like that. In Michigan, when that's where his family's from, he's from the Detroit area. So when we go there,
Okay.
I get the exact opposite of like what you were talking about, where I am the only non-black person.
Mm.
So, in I don't. It varies. You will have some people who will make remarks. I'm not going to say I've never heard it, but I feel like I've been very well accepted into that. But
Mm.
again, I'm inner city. I don't have. I'm an urban chick, so it's not
Yeah.
that big of a
Yeah. Yeah.
cultural
Yeah.
difference, which I think there is more to relate on that then. Now, his grandmother was from Louisiana. She was, second generation out of slavery. Her take on it was a little bit different. Not that she was ever mean, rude, nasty, or said anything inappropriate, but she would
Yeah.
make comments to him like, "Are you sure you're going to be okay in the future?" Now, after years that went by, she definitely grew to accept me, and I was just one of the kids, just like everybody else running around there.
Yeah.
But it
For
took
sure.
some time. It definitely took some time. Now, my probably worst experience would be in Chicago, which caught me off guard because that's a Midwest city, and I expected it to be a lot
Uh
more
huh.
like here. It was
Okay.
not. Chicago was probably the most racist city I have been to as far as interracial dating is concerned. A lot
What
of
happened?
just a lot of comments. Be out in public, and now, mind you, I have extremely long hair. My hair is almost down to my knees.
Okay.
I guess the attention from that warranted a lot of who does this white bitch think she is, coming down here and
Oh wow.
taking our dudes. Like, for one, I didn't take anyone from down here. He wasn't even here. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No word.
there's a lot of that, but that was probably, like I said, the worst for that. And that was probably the only place I've actually got it from the black community. Versus Louisiana,
Mm.
it was from the white community.
So
Detroit, it's a little bit different, but Detroit has a good role reversal. You'll see a lot more black people in positions of power than you will white people. So it's a little bit different there. but I definitely expected a lot different from Chicago.
Given from everything that you told me, you've got it. You've got the prejudice and things like that from all sides of the spectrum.
Hmm.
And you know that's why I decided to bring you on, because I didn't want people. If I feel like if I would have went into my review giving like talking about my experiences, they would have just heard one side of the story, and I didn't want people to think like, oh, it's just this black dude trying to say that like white people aren't accepting of interracial relationships. And I'm not trying to generalize races or anything like that. But at the end of the day, the movie is about a black man dating a white woman and his experience. So I just figured, let's just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause a lot of people don't talk about it. They watch it and they're like, it's a movie. It's fake. But, art imitates life.
Right. And that is an important conversation to have with someone that you're dating before you bring them home. And you would
It
like to
sure
think,
is.
obviously, that, there's a twist into that, but you would like to think you know your family and what's going to be said or what's going to be talked about. But it doesn't hurt to prepare the person that you're putting in that situation for things that may be said or done, just so that they have a heads up and they're not taken back or taken off
Exactly.
guard by it. Because, yeah,
Yep.
that,
Yep.
and it can change things. It can definitely change relationships and feelings. And
Oh, definitely. Because if you don't feel accepted or comfortable around their family, then now it changes the entire dynamic of the relationship.
exactly.
Make love, not war.
Right.
You know. I thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I was so like excited when you told me you watched it on Friday. I said, "Yo, I gotta get Nina on the show. Like I have to get Nina on the show."
Yeah. And
So
it was,
you know what I mean?
we were there 20 minutes early and we almost didn't get tickets. So buy online, make sure you got your spot before you get in there.
Wow. Yeah, this movie's definitely gonna be the number one movie
It's
this
definitely the number
weekend.
one of 2017. I'm going to go as far as to say that. I don't see anything
Yeah,
else in the works that is going to be as powerful as this was.
yeah, I said the same thing in my review too. This is the best movie of 2017 so far. I mean, but we got a ton of superhero movies coming out, so you already know that may change.
Well, I like my
So
superheroes too, but I don't think it'll fall quite into the same category. This is going to be a
yeah, no, I definitely
standalone.
hear
This
you.
is going to be one that I think will be around for generations to come, and it's something that I can imagine showing my grandkids one day. Like, check this out. This is a dope movie.
Yes, yes, no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Well, thank you for giving me some of your time. I definitely appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Everything that's going on, of course, no problem, no problem, no problem. I definitely wish you well in the future and all of your endeavors, and good luck with everything. You already know how to find me and where to find me.
Of
So
course.
I'm gonna edit this. I'm not gonna cut out too much. I'm just gonna, the dead spots with just air. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
cut that out just so we can, combine this with my review, and then I'm gonna post it, and I'm gonna tag you. And all I ask is that you just promote it as well, like on your Facebook or whatever.
Of
And that's
course.
it.
Of course. I got you.
Thank you.
Not a problem. We'll
Thank you,
talk to you
dear.
later.
All
I'll send
right.
them right now
Bye.
too. Bye bye.
Sounds good. Perfect. Thanks. Bye.